a couple of American car manufacturers that are going into telling us a little bit about their production plans for the next couple of years. And all right, so since I called them American, it's definitely not Fiat. Between
That
Ford,
narrows the field.
yeah, it does. So between Ford and GM combined, we're looking at a target production of 320,000 electric cars in the year 2026.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 years from now. Here we are in 2020, and somebody that is a subject of a show we just finished. They did that last year easily, and then
most people, if they don't know numbers, 320,000 sounds like a really big number. That's a really big number, but what is that compared to?
Compared to what they do in just trucks every quarter, those are millions.
Right, millions, right? So yeah, I mean, to say 320, and they'll be making about 5 million petrol-powered SUVs in 2026.
Yes, 93% of them will be gas.
I'm really glad. I'm really glad that we did these two stories in the order we did them, because Patrick's argument about the perfect being the enemy of the good is exactly what's going on here. So if somebody's going to make 320,000 non-fossil fuel vehicles, it's a bad thing because it's not enough.
So it's great
we all want them to make more.
Yes, we all want them to make more. And if you are looking at your supply lines that far out and setting up your orders and getting your suppliers in ready for the batteries that you're going to need, and that's all that you're asking for, well, you'll that's all you're going to get.
Yeah, because the battery manufacturers, they move so much slower than the electronics and the steel and all the other crap that goes into a car. They can get turned on and off like that. Batteries don't work that way as far as their construction. No, once they're there, they're light switches on and off, but to get them in the cars is an effort. And if you don't have the capacity,
this with compliance cars. It means that their dealerships are not on board. It means that they don't have the big rollouts, the big ad campaigns. They're just doing enough to get by. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you see them lobbying every government in the world to have less stringent emission controls.
The headline to this is GM and Ford, quote, GM and Ford's EV production plans for the U.S. have leaked, and they are a joke.
Yeah, I tried not to editorialize it.
I'm just, that's the big type at the top of this article.
Right.
And where's the article published?
Teslarati.
Yeah.
Yes,
so a Tesla fan site publishes news slamming GM and Ford for saying they're going to make 320,000 EVs when last year they didn't make 320,000.
Right.
The year before that, they didn't make 320,000. Like,
they
again,
didn't just make a big song and dance show about how they have this new battery architecture that's better than Tesla, but uses 2 times the battery capacity to go just as far.
If this was their 2022 plan, I would
understand.
Absolutely. They need to ramp it up.
Yeah. But this is 2026.
I don't think when someone does something right, you smack them in the face. That's my only point here. Sorry.
But Mary Barra did say they would bring 1 million EVs to market by the middle of 2020s. And now they're saying 320,000 by 2026.
Yeah, if they're not even going to do it with Ford together, how are they going to do that?
Well, there has been some speculation that the numbers are wrong, too. Like, we don't know what the numbers are. The numbers are leaked. Where did they get the numbers from? Was it a reliable source? Is there a problem with the numbers? Because what Mary Barra is saying at EV Day completely is different than this. So I'm not sure if the numbers are accurate.
Maybe they came before she did her EV Day speech. But if they came after, then this is what most of the controversy is about.
Yeah, I don't want to smack anybody in the face, but I do want to encourage them to move in the right direction faster.
Yes.
During the last show, the Tesla Life, Patrick had we talked about this story a little bit as well, and he had a great point about that. Really, it will come to a point when batteries are cheap enough that everyone will switch over automatically.
without asking.
If you get to 2024 or 2023 and you've reached parity, then things will switch almost day and night immediately over to EVs, because it becomes just as profitable and easier to build once you've reached that point. So the thing we can take some solace in, even if this number is correct, is at least they have outlined a number of different types of vehicles that are going to be EVs that will work in other people's lives, that we can start to receive them, start to get them out to the public that actually wants them.
Yeah, that's a great point that we've talked about here before. What really matters for when you have something like this, there's going to be a niche of people who love it, but that's not going to become mainstream. When mainstream happens, when these are the more affordable cars, when they are the better deal, when when you go to the lot and you're like, okay, you can get this car, or you can get one that's $2,000 cheaper and it's electric and has more torque and it's faster and it's quieter and it's cheaper to fuel. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Then it's going to explode in the mainstream.
When it's cheaper to buy, the customers will demand it. When it's cheaper to build, the manufacturers will force it. Like if you can close 3 foundries,
if there's more profit in it for the manufacturers, they'll be all over it.
Yeah.
The hard part, though, is one of the things that makes it profitable is when you have high volume, and then but if you're constraining your volume, then you can't get to the economies of scale. So it's a tricky one.
It is tricky. And I'm sorry, Georgia, please.
Oh, no, I just think that's the catch-22 you're finding between Ford and GM. That's what we talked about, like getting these big monolithic old companies to ramp up and try something new. I think that's exactly what's happening here. I mean, to me, that number is pretty disappointing. I agree with you, Russell. You know that, because we talked about that whole philosophy on other things, that it's like, it's progress. Yeah. But to me, if your plan was for millions and then you're coming back with 320,000 by 2026, that doesn't feel like millions. That feels like you kept a good portion of that million somewhere else. I mean, 500,000, 750,000, I think that's more of a goal. But I also see why, and that's the big if, because we don't know what the true numbers really are. Every time people have unsourced leaks, I always say, if you can't validate the source, then you really don't have anything but a speculation. If they're not willing to come out and put their name on it, it's just speculation. And maybe if you make enough stink that, okay, this is kind of a disappointing number and it really isn't the innovation Ford and GM should be showing, maybe somebody who says, well, we floated that number out to see what people felt, and you know what? We got our asses kicked. Let's see if we can bump that up. But I think that they can do better. I think that despite being dinosaurs, some of those dinosaurs managed to be pretty damned fast. So get with the program and put a little bit more out there. Show you really are investing in sustainable cars and trucks. You are really going to be aggressive, and you're going to compete. And to me, that 320K number, if that's the right number, that's not the aggressive, competitive nature of the business. And I think that they can do better.
Yeah. I like having someone else on the show to argue with Russell.
It's like you said, though, they have a chicken and egg problem. Like they have to decide: are we going to keep doing what makes us money, or are we going to do this new thing? But the new upcoming ones, like Rivian, Tesla, blah blah, they don't have a choice. Like they can't do this old thing. They are unable to. It's just not in the picture. And so the new thing is already just de facto what they do.
Let me toss some gasoline and some complicating factors into this discussion, if I may.
How about some
Trying to remove the gasoline.
All right.
So gas is 99 cents a gallon on average in 20 states right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
California.
going to. It's gotta go up.
Yeah.
I knew of at least 2 states. I didn't know it had.
I think that was
to 20,
maybe it
but
was
yeah.
8 states. I forget.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it was.
The price of gas has dropped like crazy in the last.
It's
few
dropped
weeks.
like crazy because both Russia and the Middle East are having a price war, and they're also trying to kill all of the other sources for oil, so that then they can jack the price up. As we've
Right.
seen.
And our fuel use has dropped at the same time.
Yeah, and a lot of people are working from home, so a lot of people aren't daily commuting. So you've got gas sitting in tanks just
They're
Just
just
sitting
Canada
there.
now. Canada
Like
said,
the-
all right, no tar sands this week.
I'm literally strapping a backpack to my back and walking to the grocery store 2 miles and walking back up. It's daily as a bit of exercise, or just I'm not driving that much at all. So
Good respiratory health.
That's
Millions of people their cars are sitting in the driveway. So add to that what looks like it could be a severe recession or depression in the United States, possibly globally, that could seriously impact the economic health of all of these companies.
Absolutely.
For me, that just I strongly want to encourage these companies to do better, but I'm also not gonna kick them in the balls for doing something. Is it what I want? No, but after playing this game, being an activist for EVs and for more clean transportation, for more mass transit, for a long time, again, I take the victories where I can get them, because they're hard fought and they're seldom.
Right, but as you saw, some of the compliance cars actually turned out to really be disasters and made it look like nobody wanted EVs, made it look like there was no support for EVs. So they have to do enough to get over that trench that they've fallen in multiple times.
Well, but let's pretend we're smarter than maybe we are. We all know that's bullshit. Okay? The car companies are like, well, nobody wants electric cars. No, nobody wants to make them because there's not enough profit in them to sell them, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
At the prices that are selling today. I mean, if you go
Prices-
luxury, then you can do it. We've seen that.
A $25,000 electric vehicle isn't super profitable right now.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Chevy Spark EV.
Yeah, that thing is a disaster.
Yeah.
Hey, I got one of those.
yeah, that's
Mark.
right.
And
Thank
yeah, if
you.
you have it and you enjoy it, great. But that doesn't mean it was a good long-term project for the company.
Okay, the Fiat 500 EV. That one.
Disagree with that, Patrick. I so disagree with that, because here's another car, like the iMeave has been the whipping boy for electric cars forever. I love the iMeave. The iMeave was a rickety, weird little European style electric car that was a blast to drive, and it was dirt cheap, and everybody hated it because it.
See why we get along now, Russell? Because rickety and weird.
Yeah.
The
idea
duo of rickety and weird coming to you soon.
it was a.
There's our show title.
Who rickety and weird? I got to write that down.
Yeah.
Who here has driven an iMeave?
I have.
It was fun.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. You know, again, it's this sort of one-upsmanship. It's where we, as people who may or may not consider themselves to be activists, we get into sort of this pure ideology debate. Well, my ideology is more pure than yours, so I have to reject yours. And it's like,
right.
you don't have to.
Yeah. Right.
We can be fellow travelers on parallel paths. Even if you're behind me half a mile, at least you're still headed in that direction.
Yeah.
Right. And my point wasn't that those were horrible cars. I was saying that those programs were not something that those businesses could continue to do. They were doing them as a test, or they were doing them for some compliance or some carb credits. And it wasn't something that we argued about the Hummer last week on the show. And one reason I think that's a good idea is it has a high price point. It's going to bring in a market that they haven't had before, and it'll be a product that they can sell in at least the low volumes continuously that they sold the old Hummer in. And those are all good points that make it look like it's a program that they can continue to do over a long period of time, unlike some of the ones in the past where they know they were losing thousands on every car and they were making it up with the CARB credits that allowed them to sell trucks in that state.